Hi everybody, I'm Jessica Randolph, actually submitting my application for the Paranormal Figures television show with Pilgrim Studios. I have always been into the paranormal. I actually co-founded my own group with my twin sister Robin and my older brother Todd, and we actually created the group about 2002 formally, but we're always involved in the paranormal in some fashion or form before that. So I am a ghost hunter by night. By day, I work in human resources of all things. I'd like to say that I am a therapist. I deal with people's issues all day long, and I actually am very good at that. So that's something that I have, a skill I've developed that actually translates not only into everyday life, but it also translates into the paranormal as well. In dealing with people's issues, you pick up on their sensitivities, also using intuition to kind of figure out when someone's telling you the truth or maybe when they're not telling you the entire truth. So that's actually become a skill that I've really honed throughout that, and something that I've really enjoyed translating that into the paranormal field, so to speak. When I got the call to send in an application for the show, I was incredibly excited because this is something that I've always wanted to do. The opportunity to travel internationally is not something that's new to me per se, because I actually grew up overseas. My dad was a diplomat, so we traveled all over. We lived in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. So this is not something that's new, but I could absolutely bring a kind of vitality to the show. And of course a knowledge of other cultures. I can cuss like a sailor in Arabic and French and German, so that's got to be a skill set. Probably not for TV, for everyday TV. I think I could bring a sense of style to the show, a sense of fun. I think most paranormal shows out there now, I think the emphasis is on, obviously, the cooperating personal experiences with hard evidence, hard audio, video evidence, and that's absolutely something that we have to do in the field, because we have to make it legitimate. We have to make it as objective as we can for those skeptics. But I think at the same time, it doesn't have to be so drab, and it doesn't have to be so incredibly serious all the time. There should be an element of entertainment to it and an element of fun. And I know for a fact that I could bring that to the show. As far as my personal beliefs, I would say that I am probably a skeptic believer. I really look for those instances where I can corroborate a personal experience with something scientific, with that hard audio evidence, with that video evidence. A great example of this is when our group actually went and investigated Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and had this kind of experience on the third floor where I felt like there was a presence behind us. And I actually heard a man and a woman having a conversation behind us. And keep in mind, we were the only 3 people on that floor at that time conducting that investigation. And I immediately said to my older brother and my sister, guys, there's talking going on behind me. We need to do an EVP session. And so we clicked on the recorders, had the video camera running, all of that. We're taking a baseline with our EMFs. Had a couple of spikes, but nothing major at that point. Went through the whole list of questions, and one of the questions that we asked was, what is your name? And when we played it back, we actually had the most amazing EVP, and the response was Mary. It was kind of that whisper yell, that signature EVP, those holy grail EVPs that you look for. And come to find out, we actually presented that to the owner, Tina Mattingly, of the sanatorium, and played it for her, and she said, where was this captured? And I told her the 3rd floor, and she said, well, what room? And I told her the room, and she said, oh my gosh, we have hard evidence, historical evidence, where there was a 14-year-old girl that lived there. She was an orphan. Her name was Mary, and that was actually her room, and it was right outside of her room. And I mean, I've got goosebumps telling you about it now, because it was insane. And that is one of those kind of holy grail moments where you have that personal experience that's corroborated with scientific evidence. So, in a case of where intuition played into that, and that's something that's how I investigate, that's how I live my life. I live my life based off of intuition. And I feel like I'm a really great communicator. So I feel like I could really utilize that intuition, utilize that sensitivity, because I'm very empathetic to the living and the dead. I can pick up on emotions. And I think emotions, when someone passes, or even when someone's living, it's very transient because it's all energy, and energy kind of moves with the environment. So it goes from one mass to another mass, and it's absorbed. And there's residual feelings, there's residual energy that you can pick up on if you've done this long enough, and if you're predisposed to it. And it's not something that I can turn off. And many times I do wish that I could turn it off, especially in my career, because I find that being in human resources, people do open up to you, and they do tell you these very disturbing things that sometimes can put you in kind of a conundrum. And the same is true with the field of the paranormal. I mean, you have these experiences where these entities are reaching out to you, and you may or may not be able to assist them, but or even communicate with them, depending on the nature of the situation. But it's a calling, and it's something that I feel very driven to do, to continue the legacy of my brother. We lost him in 2009, and this was always something that we talked about, was continuing that legacy, continuing the ghost hunting. And I know I'd be an amazing fit for this. If you guys give me the opportunity, you're not going to regret it, because I'm about this life. So thanks so much.